Zitius Olech. And now you can find out what I said later.
Wow!
Hello, sweeties.
Hello, my sweeties, and welcome back to my channel. If you don't already know me, my name is Celise, and thank you for joining my spooky little family. In today's video, we are going to be talking about Mulholland Drive. Let's get into the video.
Today, I'm making a list of all the good things that are happening in the world. I'm still thinking.
We're taking a walk on the moon today. This is my friend Dylan.
Naomi Watts. Hello, everybody. My name is Dylan Dagenet. I am a film composer and a contributor to this channel sometimes.
Yes, and Dylan also has a podcast.
Yes, I do sometimes, yes.
Yes, it's really fun and you should check it out. If you're new to this series, I have been on a journey diving into all of David Lynch's work for the rest of my 2025 because obviously for me, and I'm sure Dylan, his death really hit us. So this series is called Connected to the Moon because of a viral tweet that he wrote saying that he was pretty sure he was connected to the moon. And I love that tweet. Thus, here we are. Thus is this series. Written and directed by David Lynch, starring Naomi Watts, Laura Herring, and Justin Theroux, Mulholland Drive follows Betty Elms, who has only just arrived in Hollywood to become a movie star when she meets an enigmatic brunette with amnesia. Meanwhile, as the two set off to solve the second woman's identity, filmmaker Adam Kesher runs into ominous trouble while casting his latest project.
And that ominous trouble goes by the name of Billy Ray Cyrus.
That's so scary. That was a jump scare for me.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What was your first David Lynch film? Or work thing?
Oh my god. Mine was Eraserhead.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
That's quite the intro.
I know. Isn't that crazy?
I love Eraserhead. It's
Me
so
too.
good.
Well, I feel like it was a lot of people's first if you went to like acting film school. And then funny enough, my second was Mulholland Drive.
No way! Seriously?
Yes.
Oh, that's so cool.
Yes. Which like, I don't think that was good actually.
No? It was too much?
Yes.
Okay.
Because I personally think that like now having seen Twin Peaks twice now, Mulholland Drive makes more sense.
Yeah, it definitely kind of comes out of there. And you've now seen Lost Highway, yes?
Yes.
And you were not as big on Lost Highway, yeah?
No.
I do think it's kind of a, like, I love Lost Highway, don't get me wrong, but there seems to be this sort of thing in Lynch's career, I don't know if you've noticed this, where he'll have two movies in a row where one is the more experimental, he's trying something out, and then the next one he sort of polishes it and makes it into something a little more cogent, you know. So you have Eraserhead, which is a total experimental film, which goes right into Elephant Man, which is a little more of a conventional narrative. And then you have Lost Highway, Mulholland Drive, and I would say Inland Empire into The Return.
Mm-hmm. I have not seen Inland Empire.
It's a lot of movie.
I've heard. Actually, there's so many I haven't seen, you know?
Yeah, well, this is so cool. I mean, this is the right time to get into David Lynch. Now, all the work is out there, so you can see beginning to end, like, where's the end of the story.
Wait, so what was your first?
Probably Twin Peaks. I think I first came to Twin Peaks and then went to Mulholland Drive, and I think you're right. Once you've watched Twin Peaks, you get it a little bit more. I believe Mulholland Drive was actually conceived as an Audrey spinoff originally.
Oh.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of this, I mean...
Interesting.
You can kind of see it when you think of it as like a young girl goes to Hollywood to become a movie star and then it becomes a detective mystery. That's very Audrey Horne.
That's true.
And the second half of the movie wasn't there originally. We should talk about, I guess, how this one sort of came out.
So actually, did you know this when you saw the movie?
That it was a pilot first?
Yeah.
No, I did not.
Okay.
I think it's almost better not to know the first time.
Yeah. I actually find it interesting that this was originally supposed to be a TV series because it kind of like makes sense. And it also makes sense that they were like, no, we don't want that.
You can find the pilot out there too.
No way. Have you seen it?
The pilot's out there. I've never watched it because I don't really want to engage with the movie in that way. I'm sure I will at some point, especially now there's just all of his work's out there. I'm sure I'll go through and look for the slim pickings and everything. But I love this movie, just how it turned out. The way this movie turned out is, I think, the way it's meant to be experienced. And he said that, too. Once he started writing the second half of it, he was like, oh, this is exactly what it was supposed to be the whole time.
Yeah. And for him, in typical Lynch fashion, he says that this movie makes total sense and is coherent, which I find funny.
What's weird about it? What's strange about the film Mulholland Drive?
Also, he has said that he doesn't care to answer what it's about, and that it's whatever you think it's about.
You know what? One of the main objections that ABC had with the original pilot was that there was an extended shot of dog poop.
What?
Yeah.
Wait, how do you know this? I didn't even read that on the wiki.
There's a quote of his where he's like, yeah, they were confused and there was a shot of dog poop and they didn't like that, you know.
Should we just get into, like, first interpretations?
Yeah, what was your initial reaction?
Okay, so when first watching this movie, I actually hated it.
Okay.
I don't even know if I hated it. I just, like, didn't understand anything about it.
Yeah, I think that's a normal response.
Yeah, and I was like, okay, so we're just, like, doing things, but I don't actually understand what's going on. And initially when I watched this, a friend of mine showed me, and the friend was like, this is an incredible movie. It's a masterpiece. And I was like, oh my God, let's fucking go.
That's the perfect way to watch any movie, is to have someone hype it up and just say, this is important.
Yeah. And so I was like, okay, I can't wait to feel something, you know? It's going to rip me to shreds. And then I was just like, great. What was it about? It's cool that they're gay. Rocco hated it.
Right.
Yeah. Rocco was like, oh, I don't really get it. What's the tone? Which I think is like... seems to be a thing with a lot of his movies. Yeah,
I think when we used to talk about David Lynch, I would say, well, you know, Mulholland Drive is magnum opus, and you guys would kind of be like, really?
That's so true.
But it's normal. Yeah. Like, if you're not watching stuff like Mulholland Drive all the time, then you might initially feel like, well, fuck you for trying to deceive me.
That's true. Yeah, I think that, like, to really get into his work, I would say, like, Eraserhead is a great start, but really I think Twin Peaks is where you get, like, the most him, and you get, like, the tone.
There's some grounding, and then it sort of steps into the realm of Lynchiness.
Yeah, because now, after rewatching Twin Peaks 2 times now I like this movie. Do I fully know what it's about? No. When I was watching it a second time, was I like, yeah, I get it? No. But I will say that, like, during the theater scene, when they're crying, I was like, I feel everything right now.
Yeah.
You know? Like, cool. I have no idea what this is about, but I feel every emotion right now.
I love it. That's great.
So I guess now we can talk about the interpretations of what you think this movie is about. Which actually, this is why I asked Dylan to be in this video today. We were out for drinks, and we were talking about David Lynch, and Dylan was going on this whole thing about how, like, this one is his favorite. And I was like, I saw the spark in the eyes, and I was like, it's you. You need to be on the channel.
I do find it daunting that you only bring me on to talk about, like, the greatest movies of all time. You know what I mean? I appreciate you thinking I'm qualified. I really do.
You are.
Thank you.
Come on, bestie. We're serving.
Absolutely. I do love this movie.
Mom looks.
We are serving mom looks. To me, this is Lynch's magnum opus. I think there's... The other one I could make an argument for is The Return. But The Return is 18 hours of television, and this is kind of a succinct 2.5-hour movie.
Yeah.
So they get a lot done with it. Interpretations. I mean, where did you come off on this last viewing?
Okay, so the last viewing, it's really interesting because Rocco, when we watched it together, was like, yeah, I still don't know what it's about. And I was like, wait, I think, like, she's thinking of herself as Laura Herring. You know what I mean? And I was like, that's what she wants to be, but she's not that.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, I would explain why they have the same hair in that scene.
Yeah. And so then I went quickly and looked up what Naomi Watts thinks this movie is about, because oftentimes in Lynch's movies, the actors also question, what is this about? And David Lynch is like, it's whatever you think.
Yeah, he famously doesn't tell them.
Yeah. And she basically kind of said the same thing. And when I was talking to you when we were getting drinks, you were explaining in depth, and I was like, Naomi Watts said the same thing.
He has to be Naomi Watts. If you look at it the way that it came about, right? So we know the first half of the movie is basically the pilot, give or take some things. Then you see a story that had to be finished. And there's a recurring question that comes back in David Lynch's movies, which is, we all live in a dream, but who is the dreamer? This is something he makes explicit in The Return. So I think Eraserhead, which you said is your favorite, that I think the dreamer is him, right? It's his experience. And he's always said in interviews it's his most personal film.
It feels that way.
Yeah, I think that's the one time he was like, I can be the dreamer. And then different times he starts thinking about, who's this story being told by and whose dream is it? And so we have this dead body of Diane Selwyn, and he kind of thinks maybe she's the dreamer. Mm-hmm. And so who are Betty and Rita? Who are these characters now? Are they part of the dream? We were talking about the hints that David Lynch gave, right? That hint of the first two, there's two hints right at the top, right?
Oh.
So the first shot is that jitterbugging scene, right? And later Diane Selwyn says, I got my start in a jitterbugging contest that I won, and then I decided I wanted to become an actress. I wanted to become a star.
Yes.
And then the second shot is the camera hitting a pillow.
Oh, yeah.
Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah.
It's he does the same thing with Fire Walk With Me. Is the first shot is a television screen that then explodes. Like, we're not on TV anymore, kiddos. Like, he loves to play with that first shot as kind of, it's almost a joke. But
That's
he's saying,
crazy.
Here we go, into dreamland.
This is a good segue into the camera work in the movie.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I love it. I'm obsessed. I mean, all his camera work is great. I'm just, obsessed with all, the shaky cam stuff that he does, which he does do in Fire Walk With Me.
A lot of the floating cam, yeah, he does.
Yeah, I love it. It's become, his thing. Yeah, I can't really think of any specific iconic shots outside of the, theater one.
Yeah.
For me.
The woman at the balcony, Silencio. There's a lot of little moments that stick with me, like Adam Kesher pouring paint into his wife's jewel box.
Oh my God.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I forgot about that. There was so much weird stuff going on with him. And
yeah. There's a lot of little asides that in a more harshly edited movie might have been cut. But I think Lynch really sprinkles them in, or rather Mary Sweeney, who is, I think, his partner at the time, she edited the movie. She leaves a lot of that stuff in, and I think it really helps the pacing. He really helps you take a breath between the beats. Because when you see the stuff that he cuts, it's still great. Mm-hmm. There's a whole movie called The Missing Pieces that's just the deleted scenes from Fire Walk With Me, and it's pretty much
seen this.
Oh, it's just as good as Fire Walk With Me.
I
it's
need
great.
to see it. Yeah.
I was saying off camera, the hobo behind Winkies, or as I like to call him, the poop monster, is played by the actress who played the nun, Bonnie Aarons.
I literally did not know that until Dylan said something.
Yeah, and apparently on set she thought Lynch was so hot.
Which makes sense.
Yeah.
I too thought that,
Yeah.
I was like, yeah, I would.
He never got Sexiest Man of the Year.
Hate that. They don't really understand. It's a vibe thing.
Exactly.
And he checked all the boxes for me.
He looks like he fucks.
Period. So, one thing we did not talk about, and we have to talk about it because we've been kind of dancing around it. We have to talk about our performances in this movie.
Yes.
Because that's always my favorite thing to talk about. I had never seen Laura Herring before this movie. I don't know if she's done really
I think she
much.
was a soap star.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Love that for her. She's great in this movie. Obviously, Naomi Watts, for me, is everything in this movie because of that one dinner scene.
Oh, yeah, at the end there. Yeah.
I love that scene. She's amazing. I mean, yeah, everything she's doing towards the end of the movie is so good. She had to do so much in a short time.
Yeah, I watched it with my mom. The first half of the movie when it's Betty and Rita, at some point she goes, are they going to explain why the acting's bad? Which it's very stylized.
It is. No, it is. Because Naomi Watts' character, as Betty, is very, very my God, everything is amazing.
It's $3, 2 bags, 1 knee.
Yeah,
Welcome to LA.
It's this is girlhood. Yeah, and then it gets really, really serious.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. Did she like it towards the end?
Oh yeah, I think so. It's I mean, again, there's that reaction when you get to the end of the movie that is like, what just happened? It ends with Silencio, and then you're like, that's the end of the movie?
Yeah, that's crazy. I feel like my wig is falling off.
Oh no.
Hello. Hello, my sweeties, my little cuties, cutie patooties. As you can tell, Dylan and I really got lost in the sauce in this video. We clearly put on our blonde wigs and we had our full-on bimbo blonde moments because I truly forgot a couple things that I really wanted to address. So obviously, while we're here talking about the performances, I forgot to mention how much I wanted to talk about the casting of Naomi Watts and Laura Herring. And while I was editing, I was basically like, okay, well, I need to insert something because I have to talk about this. So speaking of Naomi Watts and her casting, she essentially was flying in from New York, and she kind of had to like fly over there super quickly to meet with David, and they were supposed to have like an interview because both Naomi Watts and Laura Herring were cast based on their photographs. David had mentioned in an interview that he had never seen any of their previous works, and he really just liked the way they looked, and he wanted to meet with them and chat and see if they would be down to do this movie. Now, before we get to Naomi Watts and what she had to say, I have to talk about Laura Herring really quickly because I thought it was really funny, and honestly, I'm just like her because everything she said, I would have thought the same thing. Apparently, Laura Herring, when she was on her way to do the interview with David Lynch, she had gotten into a very minor car accident, and while they were meeting and chatting, David ended up mentioning that her character essentially goes through a car accident in this movie, and she basically was like, oh my god, haha, that's so funny, that's so weird, it must be fate because I literally just got into a minor car accident before arriving here today. I feel like I would have thought the same thing. It was like meant to be. All the signs were there, and obviously she's incredible in the movie, so no notes. Miss Naomi Watts, who I love, and obviously, as you can tell in this video, Dylan and I both have been raving about the performance. So Naomi Watts had just flew in from New York, and she met with David, and she was kind of just in casual wear, and her and David were chatting it up, and she speaks of this very sweetly and mentions that he genuinely was just really interested in what her day was like and what it was like to get there, and he just wanted to know everything. And kind of basically for the first time she was like, wow, this is a director that like really sees me as a person and sees me for who I am, and she just really loved that. And I can speak about this all day. Basically, he had told her after they had like a long conversation to meet up with him the next day a little bit more glammed up because he wanted to see what she looked like and get a better idea if she would be right for the role. He later mentioned in interviews that he instantly knew that she would be amazing in the role after talking with her. He said that he saw a very beautiful soul, a lot of intelligence, and someone who is very versatile and a great actress. Now, before I send us off back to Dylan and I and our lovely blonde bobs, I have to insert this really sweet clip of Naomi Watts talking about her experience and doing her incredible David Lynch impression because it gets me every time.
I sat down and was like, hi, and he said, nice to meet you, Naomi.
Is that not one of the best impressions you ever heard of David Lynch? My God, she is a star. Also forgot to mention that Mulholland Drive earned Lynch the 2001 Cannes Film Festival Award for Best Director, as well as a nomination for the Academy Award for Best Director of this film. You guys get it. Now I can send you back off to your two girlies in blonde wigs, chatting it up and really dissecting this movie. Oh my God. Okay, love you. Bye. Bye. Yeah, she's really the star for me in this movie, but I think Laura Herring is great. But she does a lot of really good reactions to things. She's really good at looking scared and confused. She feels like the audience.
Yeah. And there's this kind of weird love story they play at the beginning that there's been a lot of debate to whether this is a queer movie, whether this is a lesbian story, or whether it's just kind of like it becomes a sex dream. And I think there's sort of this level of possessiveness that we see in Diane's attitude towards Camilla. At the ending of the movie, Camilla is a friend of hers who they met on the Sylvia North story. And, you know, Naomi Watts she wants to be an actress so bad. And so Camilla, as she's on the rise, brings her with, gets her bit parts. She's her friend, brings her along. I don't even know if the scenes where they're together in the end of the movie are real. It might just be that she imagines this relationship with her. But she's obsessed with her. And so this beginning dream sequence, she is just this baby. She has no knowledge of who she is or what she's doing there. Betty has to completely take care of her.
Yeah, she's like the damsel in distress, basically. Yeah, she needs to be saved.
Exactly. That's what Diane wants. She wants to be the one that saves Camilla, not be the one who's just riding her coattails as she marries this fuck-ass director, you know? This petulant cuck in the dream, right?
Yes.
He's a total loser because she hates him. He's just this little fuck that's not even on her radar.
Yeah,
and so
he sucks.
He gets cucked by Billy Ray. He gets beat up again and again. He doesn't get to choose the lead of his movie, which is so Hollywood, right?
It is, yes. I actually do love the commentary on Hollywood in this.
Yeah, I thought maybe you would connect with that sort of like as, you know, a fellow actor, as a creative and everything.
Yeah, because the whole industry is just icky.
Yeah, and there's a certain degree to which I feel like I can connect with Betty because when we hear about that Jitterbug contest, that was the first time, and we've all had this moment where someone says, hey, you're pretty good at this. Maybe you should think about doing this. And you think,
oh, yeah.
Wow, I am pretty good at this. And then you proceed to try to make a life in the arts.
Yeah, and then suddenly you're like, wow, I've gotten 10 no's in 1 week. I'm actually not worth shit.
It's really hard. I remember getting a phone call once that ended 3 years of work I did.
Oh my God.
Yep, a phone call, and then it's like, that project's dead. And this is what happened. This is why, I mean, you know this about me, is I strongly believe that anyone in a creative field has the responsibility to help out those around them, which I think is what Camilla sort of does, and she takes her under her wing.
Yes.
But then there's that also really hard thing of sometimes people break it big, and they can't take you with them. And I have friends who are on Broadway now. And I have other friends who are struggling to pay the rent, and I'm somewhere in between. This is the life of a creative. So we all try to help each other out, but it's demoralizing.
My favorite is when, like, you're signed on to a project and you're like, I can't wait. This is going to happen. And then you kind of get the call like, hey, I don't think we're going to be able to make this happen.
Right. We actually can't find you housing, so we're going to hire my sister.
Actually, yeah, we just can't pay anyone.
Yeah, that's right. That's the moral of the story.
Yeah, which always sucks because you're like, wow, I'm finally gonna get to act. I'm gonna do that. This is gonna be my big moment.
Yeah, and you have the those film executives in this movie, right, that even take the power away from Adam Kesher in the dream sequence. The one of them played by Angelo Badalamenti, the composer of the film.
Oh my God, I didn't even know that was it.
He spits the espresso into the napkin.
Oh my God!
That's him.
I love him.
He's great. Him and Dan Hedaya and the man from another place. They're all this mysterious firm that he says, well, this is my movie. I should get to choose the actress. And they say, this is the girl. This is the choice. And then they ruin his life when he won't choose who they want. What would you think of the cowboy?
Who is the cowboy?
Cowboy, you see me once if you did good, see me twice if you did bad.
Oh, I didn't understand any of that. Okay, Wig is back. We're back.
Wig is back.
Our wigs are falling off, you know? It's hot.
We're just girls.
Okay, so you have to explain the cowboy.
Well, that was kind of the first thing, when I first watched it, that was the first thing I grabbed onto, was he says, if you choose the actress right, then you'll see me one more time. If you don't choose right, you'll see me 2 more times. So we see him in another scene where it's kind of like, oh, okay, he chose the right actress. He says, this is the girl, when he sees the photograph he saw. But that photograph was of a different actress. and
Yes.
it said Camilla Rhodes. He didn't choose the right Camilla because in the dream, she's Rita. So we do see him in the background of the party scene. And the first time I saw that, I was like, that was the first moment where I felt like I was connecting things when I first watched this movie.
Wow.
I was like, I got something.
Yeah.
I was like, yes, I got something.
I love that. That's like basically what watching Lynch movies is.
I always interpreted the sort of tragic conclusion of this story is that she orders a hit on Camilla. He says you'll find this blue key when the job's done.
Yes.
The hitman who
that I took the same.
Right.
Yes.
And I was watching that scene earlier, the hitman scene in the dream, which is a total comedy sequence.
Yes. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Watching it this time, I felt like in her dream she was thinking, what about all that could go wrong?
Yeah.
What about this hitman could really screw things up if he doesn't do this right? And she's so worried about, it's basically a guilt dream, right? As she knows she's ordered a hit on the woman. If she doesn't love her, then at least this woman's helped her out, done nothing but help her. And then she orders a hit on her. And then eventually the end, I always interpreted it as she unalives herself to end it all because of this guilt. And she sees these demons of the old people. And then Silencio. I always thought Silencio is the end of the movie.
Yeah. It's so interesting. I read something earlier today, and maybe I need to rewatch the movie as a BPD person, but I read a bunch of theories of people saying that this movie is about being BPD. And as a BPD person, the only thing I can relate myself, and I've only seen this movie twice, but like the wanting to kind of be somebody else and like adapting their personality, and trying to like morph into this other person because you really don't like yourself.
Yeah, there's that really difficult aspect too when you're an actor that you're comparing yourself to everybody, and they always say everybody's journeys are different, but some people get really successful and then some people don't get anything.
So after I rewatched this, I logged this movie and I wrote David Lynch, and then I put like the handshake emoji and I put girlhood. I feel like he understands girlhood in a way. The minute these like two women meet, I love like how they're just like immediately so intimate and like they want to like help each other, and like there's such a clear difference between like if that was like a man and a woman than like a woman and a woman. Like I feel like there is immediately like this intimacy with like girl friendships and like I don't know. I just thought it was done really well.
The first scene that they meet, Betty walks into her aunt's bathroom and just finds a naked woman in the shower.
Crazy.
It's like, oh, nice to meet you. Like,
yeah, and it's like instead of her being like, who the hell are you? Like, get out of my house. Like, she's like, oh my God, okay, like, let's help. Like, and I think I would have done the same.
Let's go to Club Silencio.
Let's do it.
Let's talk about Club Silencio real quick. I almost think that's sort of a meta movie thing. He talks about no hay banda. There is no band. It's just a recording. I feel like that's movies. Right? That's Lynch loves to talk referentially about, I think he equates dreams and TV and movies a little bit.
Yeah.
He kind of says like, a movie is like a dream. You're seeing a dream broadcasted, right? And I think that's sort of him talking about movies is like, this will feel very real and this will affect you, but it's not. This is a recording. David Lynch is unfortunately deceased now. So when we're watching this movie, we're seeing the expression of his mind with him being physically gone. So if there's no hay banda, it's just a recording, we're just seeing the recording of this dream and still it emotionally affects us. And I think that's sort of what you were talking about too, is even if you don't get every aspect of the movie, which I don't know that all of it is to be got. I don't know if it's a puzzle to be solved or just an experience to be had. And suddenly you might feel something. And then you wonder, oh, what is this?
That's true. And there's like no right or wrong answer, which is great too.
No. And they start crying, right?
Yeah.
And we know it's a recording. Rebecca Del Rio passes out on stage and the music keeps going.
Yeah. I love that. That scene is so powerful.
It's a great scene.
It's a great scene.
And it's kind of, I guess it's her foreshadowing her death, right? As she finds her dead body and death is waiting for her. It's waiting for us all, folks.
It is, isn't it? How grim. I would love to know, what is your rating of Mulholland Drive?
Oh, how do I rate Mulholland Drive? This is a 5-lev movie for me. I think this is just, to me, this is saying everything Lynch wanted to say, and he said it different ways, and he said different things about it. He expanded on different points. But to me, in a film, this is the most fully realized of who he is as a filmmaker.
Wow. That's beautiful. I am going to be giving Mulholland Drive 3.5 levs out of 5. I think I need to rewatch it again. Like, I was almost there.
So do I.
But not quite there. One day, I'm sure it'll be a 4. I love him.
Amazing filmmaker.
Just a little guy. It's my favorite way to describe
He's just a little
him.
guy.
Just a little guy. A little weirdo.
Just like we're 2 little girls.
Yeah.
Trying to make it in LA.
Girlhood. Well, thank you so much.
Thanks for having me.
Joining.
I hope I said some good stuff.
You said a lot of good stuff. Can we all give Dylan some love in the comments? Tell everyone where they can find you.
You can find my information in the socials, and please follow me there. Like I said, I am a film composer, and I work on a lot of independent films here in New York. And I wanted to shout out a new production company called Skyland Productions I've been doing a lot of work with. They're amazing. They're committed to independent films, showcasing BIPOC voices here in New York City. So they're doing some great stuff. They just finished production on their first short film, Maki. I'm not currently involved with it. The people that I know that are involved with it are wonderful, lovely artists who deserve all your love and support. So please go give them a follow and check out their next project. And I might be on one of them. So keep an eye out.
Go off. All right, you guys. Well, that is it for today's video. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, as it really helps me a lot. And be sure to click that little notification bell to be up to date every single time I upload. And let me know in the comments, what are your thoughts on Mulholland Drive? I would love to hear all your interpretations. Let's talk about it. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.